Dr. B, really nice to meet you. I feel like, the conversation that we had off air before we started the formal interview, we really grew pretty tight to the point where I'm going to call you Dr. B because that's what all your patients call you.
They do.
Patients, your friends. Okay. So one thing that I do know about you, other than being a doctor of family medicine, is that you are a huge football fan. Buena Vista Beavers, the Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Minnesota Vikings.
That's right.
Teams.
Yes.
And it's football. It's just football. You're not a sports fanatic all the way around. What is it about football?
Well, I like sports, but football, it's good. So my dad was a football coach growing up. And so he drug me out on the field since third grade. I was his water girl, and it just evolved from there. My brother was a football coach. He coached at Buena Vista for 13 seasons. That's an undergrad in Iowa. And that's what my family does. We watch football. We talk football. My poor mom,
well, she probably was a football fan, I'm guessing.
She went back into the other bedroom and would watch Turner Classic Movies. But all of us are watching football.
Whatever makes you happy.
That's right.
So born and raised in Northwest Iowa, you currently live in Omaha, Nebraska. So
that is right.
You're in the heartland. You're in the heartland, and football is very much a part of that.
That's right. And Huskers is huge here in Omaha.
Yeah, and you're a Hawkeyes fan. How's that working out?
Except in my office. So, well, it's working out well being a Hawkeye the last several years compared to a Husker. So,
wow.
Just now I'm winning.
Taking digs.
I know.
Taking digs. That may come back to bite you someday, but you know what? For now, it lives.
I think all of my staff just resigned. They heard me, but.
Well, Dr. B, we know that your love is for football. You also have a passion for just general health. I mean, you are a doctor of family medicine, so you are very much in the health industry. And you had heard about Profile, you told us, from, it seems like 12 different people that you crossed paths with in just a few months span in 2017. Like it was all over everywhere you turned. You're hearing about this program, Profile. And then you decided to dive in. Is that kind of how it all started?
That's exactly how it was. I had never heard about it before. And a couple of my patients I might see once a year have come in. They're not related. They hardly recognize them, look amazing. And they both said they were on this program. And somebody else they ran into at the grocery store, and it just kept going. And at some point, you get smacked in the face enough, you better look into it a little bit. So that's what I did.
So that's why you chose to try the program on your own. It was July 2017 when you said you were finally either getting smacked in the face or making your own realization or whatever it is, something pushed you to jump in. So what happens in July 2017 when you go and you have this initial meeting and consultation, you find out what this program is all about?
So I just sort of threw up my hands in June. Honestly, I don't know what got me to that point, but I was done. And I thought it's time to try out this program. I've tried other things and none of them work. None of them stick. And something different. So I needed to do something different. So I made that first appointment and I went in and it was going to be terrible. It was going to be awful. I was going to hate it. It wasn't going to work, all of these things. But I was going to give it the full 30 days before I threw everything else in the trash and quit. And I'm pretty sure I told my coach that too. I'm not sure, but I think I probably did. That would sound like something I would do.
You're honest.
Right. And a month later, or at the end of that month, it was pretty darn successful, more successful than I've had in several years at the time. And I thought, well, it makes my life easier. I like it. It tastes good. Well, why don't you just stick with it? And that's what happened. I did.
You had written 17 pounds in the first month. 17.
Yeah.
So that's about all the reinforcement you need to go.
That is all I needed, because I will be very honest, and I have been with all my patients. Like, listen, the changes that I made and the sacrifices, like it really felt like sometimes I was sacrificing, but when you get handed those results, it didn't seem so difficult then. But if I would have done all that and at the end of that month lost, I don't know, 2 or 3 pounds, the right answer is I should still stick with it. But the truth is I would have canned the whole thing.
You know yourself well enough to know that that's
Yep, I
that's
need
what you would
2 pounds was not going to do it. 5 pounds wasn't going to do it. So
okay. So you had some bigger goals in mind.
yeah,
And so you saw 17 in that first month and you were like, okay, Dr. B, gonna stick with this one for a minute and see where it
yes,
takes me. Okay.
let's do
So,
it.
so you had said there were sacrifices, you started seeing results, and then you had in your head determined you would not only hate it, but you would also be starving yourself to death. And you wrote in here, I did not starve at all. Everything tasted great and it made my life easier. So why do you think it was so much different than what you had expected it to be?
That's a good question. I had done some programs or tried some programs that were kind of like the low carb, low sugar thing. One of them required like twice a week weigh-ins where I'm going to their office to do that. Their office was not by my office. It was not by my
Mm.
home. Like it just wasn't
It's not convenient.
practical.
Yeah.
Not at all. And so like here are the scales at my house. Like it doesn't get any easier than that. Now at the time, Profile had I don't know if they partnered necessarily, but they actually, maybe they were trying to get more people in my medical building. But AJ was my coach at the time, and he actually came once a week to this building. So my coach was even downstairs. So like I didn't even have that excuse that I couldn't check in. Like I literally could just run down over the lunch hour and meet with him. So I had no excuses. No good ones anyway.
They made it too easy for you.
Right. Like there's no way that I could sneak out of this.
So not only did you not hate it the way you thought it would you actually say at some point you found yourself liking it?
Oh, absolutely. I was fairly convinced after the first month, but that was quite a while ago, but I think it was still a little bit of a struggle. It was summer, and I was worried going into football season, like, how am I going to pull this off? Because there's a lot of things that go along with football when you watch those games.
Tailgating,
Right.
gatherings, dip.
Yes. And wings. Don't forget wings.
And wings.
So how was I going to do that? Well, my life ramped up even more and got much busier, I think, which helped kind of distract me from those things. I didn't have time for that. But with that said, my life just got so much busier than it normally is. And it's so easy. The program that I chose was so easy to stay on track that it just became autopilot for me.
That's pretty good for someone who had already predetermined how bad it would be.
It was really terrible, right?
Did you fight it? Did you fight like I'm kind of liking this, but I know this isn't right, and I've got to make sure that this doesn't work? Or did you just let yourself go?
By the end of that month, I had just let it go. The first couple weeks, I still fought it. I'm like, I'm not buying it. Something's up. It's not. I don't get it. But then by that first month, I was pretty sold on it.
This information I have has your total at 130 pounds lost. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Wow.
I mean, it might have been 128. It might have been 132. I'm not really sure, but
that's a big number. Is that
much more than 17? So
it's a lot more than 17.
Yes.
When you went in, or once you realized you were going to stick with it and you made a goal, did you make a goal of like X number of pounds or this is the length of time I want to be on it? At any time, did you say 130?
No. Oh, no, not at all. I didn't have a number. Well, I think in the beginning they might have like said, like, let's pick your goal weight kind of thing. However long that was going to take me to get there, who knows? But I didn't have an end point. I didn't have an end date in mind. I didn't have a size I wanted to get to. I just needed to not be who I currently was.
So
And that's what came out.
how did you know when you got there? If you didn't specifically set that goal, which
Well, I do think at some point AJ and I talked about like, okay, what sort of like what would be your weight? What's your goal weight? And I set the goal weight not at what the BMI charts say by any means.
okay.
I don't know. You're about to hear a doctor say that sometimes those charts, it's tough. Those aren't realistic for a lot of folks. But I set it at a goal that I felt like would be much more reasonable for me to get to and hopefully at some point maintain. And you just let it fly and go to work.
And you have maintained? As that was 2017 when you started.
I have, when looking back, again, these are really just excuses. But in 2019, I had kind of a lot of stress. My dad passed away and lots of things. And then I had a pandemic. So in those 2 years, I have gained 40. I've rejoined. Well, the thing is, I kind of always did profile through that, but that was, really just a joke. Like I do my shake in the morning and then somehow bomb throughout the rest of the day. So, but in February of 21 this year, I got my mind back wrapped around it and recommitted. And so it'll come off. I'm really confident that it will. It wasn't Profile's fault at all.
Well, no, and that's the thing is life happens and you might be in a great place and then something in your life might be big, might be small, might be just like added stress at work or a change of your hours or something like that. And it just shifts. And then sometimes some of the weight comes back on, but you recognized that.
Yep.
And you put your foot down and you were like, we're going to meet this head on.
Yep. That's exactly right. And so you already know the program works. Done it once before and do it again.
You had also written in here that it's okay to acknowledge that sometimes it's a struggle. And
absolutely.
That's sort of real life.
If you have it, at least for me, it's a weight management, obesity. That's a word nobody likes to use, but it's my chronic disease. I am fortunate I don't have hypertension. I don't have diabetes. Had I kept going down that path, there's really no reason why I shouldn't or wouldn't. Mm-hmm. So with the chronic disease comes long-term management. I've been that person prior to the 130 with Profile several years ago. I've been that person that's lost 100 and gained 125.
Oh, really?
And that's pretty demoralizing too. So with age, I guess, hopefully comes wisdom. And if you can figure out kind of what your triggers are or what's the reason behind your actions, that certainly helps a lot.
Yep.
And so I've done a lot of work the last couple of years on just figuring out one of my coping skills of life and stress I didn't realize was food. I'm an emotional eater, good, bad, sad, all of it. And so I've done a lot of work behind the scenes to figure that out. So I'm very confident this time around that I'll get there and I will be able to maintain it because I've done I'm doing the behind the scenes work as well.
Yes, that's right. Because for most people, especially people who have a significant amount of weight to lose, it's not just, well, I really like the taste of chocolate cake. It's usually tied to something that you have to acknowledge or unravel or uncover or at least shine a light on to understand why you're constantly choosing the food. It's not always the taste of the chocolate cake, although chocolate cake
is good. Yes. No, but you're absolutely right. Some people would choose smoking. Some people would choose alcohol or other things. And I chose that.
And in your profession, Dr. B, how much of a difference has it made for you as a healthier person to be able to advise your patients on health?
Well, I think it's, I definitely feel like it's easier. It's easier for me to connect and talk to folks about it because I can say look, I've been on both sides. I get it. if I'm sitting there preaching to someone, I try not to preach ever, but talking to someone about their weight and or doing something else, and I'm not doing a thing about it myself, that's just not, I just don't think that's right. And that's just not my personality. It's too hypocritical for me.
And so now it's easier, it's more truthful, you're connecting, it's
Yeah,
coming from a place of
absolutely.
honesty, and
I think it opens, it allows me to be more comfortable starting those conversations with patients as well. And I have new patients that are sent here specifically to talk to me about just weight management in general for various things. And because I can relate, because I get it.
You've been there.
The struggle.
You've been there. You've done that. And my information
still
says
there.
You're still there. And for some of us, we're going to live there. It's going to be part of our lives.
I mean, sometimes you win, sometimes you're ahead of the game.
You, according to my information, have referred approximately 300 patients to Profile.
I don't keep track of that. I just talk, and I talk about what I found to be successful. And if people want to give it a try, then I absolutely support that and will give them referrals and information. And I guess they've been keeping track, and
somebody's keeping track for you, Dr. B, because so that person also added up the total pounds lost by people you have referred. They say it's about 300. Those people have lost an average of 23.5 pounds for a total of over 6,300 pounds.
I did ask AJ a while back for an updated poster of that stuff, because in my rooms it had like the original, not even year, 6 months or 9 months or something like that. And so the last time I really had that recap, I think we were at like 2,000 pounds. So that's cool.
You're at 63 now. 6,300 pounds.
Some of that, you can look at that either way, but the way you should look at it is the positive that I try to tell folks, like, that's unfortunately how 300 of us had a lot to lose. But the bigger point is, but they're doing it. And that's the great part about it.
Yep. They're doing it. That's right. That's the big piece to look at. And as a doctor too, I'm guessing that part of the program at Profile by Stanford that you must appreciate is the fact that the doctors who have been part of Stanford and all of the medical branches of Stanford have contributed to this too. And it's not just based in, this diet fad works and that diet fad works. It's like medical professionals who have helped and kind of come together to develop it. And on the doctor side and the medicine side of it, that part of you must be reassured by that, I would think.
No, absolutely. That was another key point where I thought, well, it's worth a month of my time at least. Because then I started reading about it and I'm like, okay, there's a big health system that wants to put their stamp and their name on that. They're not going to risk their credibility in the medical world by doing some crazy random thing. So that made me feel better about giving it a try as well.
Well, it sounds like you did more than give it a try. It's a part of your lifestyle now. It's a part of your professional life, your personal life, and it's something that worked for you. So that's what a wonderful success story.
Yeah, thank you. It's
go ahead.
It has been great. It has been life-changing, and I think probably the best part about it is to just have those tools, have that support system. So because you have to realize when you're going into it, at least for someone that needed to lose that kind of weight, you got to be in it for the long haul. That doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to come off overnight. But I also don't want to be that person that, again, loses the 100, gains the 125. Right. Like, whew, that's tough.
Yeah.
And everyone has been very supportive at Profile you still have to do the work, but they'll do all they can to help prevent any backslides.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
And it feels like, I'm assuming, guessing from the things I've heard from you, this feels like this is not that time. This is not those programs when you lose 100, gain the 125 back. This one is different. It's part of your lifestyle, and it will be the change.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially if you can look, if you have to really look at yourself and be willing to really sort out the whys. But that's my philosophy going into anything with a patient. Like, let's try to figure out the root cause of something,
Yep.
fix that, and then this becomes a non-issue. Whether that's diabetes or, pain of some sort. And so this time around, I feel really confident that Profile will get me there and sustain it. But the causes or the whys or things, if you do that kind of work and really dive into that a little, Profile is going to help you, help it stick for sure.
Yeah. Help it stick. No doubt. Dr. B, 130 pounds down and working back on it again.
Yes.
Back on that bike again. But just the recognition and the ability to do it is, I think, pretty significant. And a lot of respect for you, Hawkeyes fan, living in Cornhusker country. That's not an easy, not an easy road.
I'm going to throw out one more thing here. My partner is a Packers fan.
Oh boy.
I know.
You're a diehard Vikings fan.
Poor guy. We'll pray for him.
Oh boy. I'm with you though. If you're gonna see that purple and gold Super Bowl, you had told me before we started recording, your dad thought it was gonna happen.
3 years.
A 3-year span, and next season is the end of that 3-year span. So
that's right. There's a lot of pressure on this.
I know. We'll let it slide. If it takes 2 more years to get that Super Bowl, we'll let that slide.
Okay, I'll take it then too. It'll be all right.
Dr. Marjorie Basinius, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your story and for being just a delightful human being to talk with. I really enjoyed getting to know you and chatting with you. So thanks for your willingness to share today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great.
Dr. Basinius, our guest this afternoon. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching Profiles in Health and Wellness.